Well, folks, we got it running last round. I still haven't addressed that transmission leak, but this round would be kind of cool if we can get a steering column in here and possibly a shifter. It's kind of what I'm shooting for here. So let's. I did pull my glass out. We got our track. We're gonna probably pull this glass and then I'll be able to bring it in. The front one, I don't really know. I think it's held in from the inside, honestly. I'm not gonna worry about it right now, but it's going to have to address this at some point, pull this out. Yeah, I can see the rubber. The glass is held underneath. This is too foggy and not so great shape, so I'm gonna have to replace all the glass on here, but won't worry about that right now. Like I say, the task at hand is gonna be, I'm gonna take this steering column. I just like it because of this thing's pretty cool. So it'd be kind of nice to integrate all of that to be like a neutral lockout and stuff like that. So plan is, I won't worry about the shifter at the moment. I just want to make all of this work with everything on here. So thinking I'm just going to hang it in there. We're going to smash a light on. I got my steering box right there, and we're going to have to somehow snake around. We might have to cut some of our inner fender well just so we can snake this thing right and get it to, you know, a good spot. This we know has spark, but I'll just get that out of the way for now. Let's just get that steering column in there and then we'll have a peek see of what it looks like here, what we got to do. All right, let's see how things fit through here. Not too bad, not too bad. I need to find said clamping device. Oh, right here. All right, I'm gonna try to clamp this in, see where I like it, and then we'll see what we're gonna have to cut out of the back. I'm gonna put this in loosely, and I just wanna see where I want this non-tilting steering column to be sitting in general. Got to get a feel for where everything is. Something's telling me we're gonna have to trim those inner fender there because this is definitely not feeling very straight. Oops. And something tells me I don't have my dash fully bolted in here. Okay, cool. Whole lot of things to address. Yeah, we definitely got to do some more cutting. Boy, I don't remember where I was with the dash. I must have not done too many things here. Oh, dang it. Means I still have my jumper pack working on here. Okay, well, anyways. I don't know. I have my seat, so I gotta go with the feel of what feels good with that. Ew. I guess you gotta go a little out here. This is one messy steering wheel. Golly. I don't know. Okay, well, I guess we'll just see what kind of mess we're going to deal with under the hood. Oh, nice. Everything came apart on the key. Interesting. Okay, let's not worry about that right now. We know this wants to go straight down like that. It's not terrible. I'm going to have to revamp for the shifter, though, because that's definitely going to make for some interesting problems. You know, it's kind of a semi-straight shot. If I want to keep it semi-straight, we're going to have to build a mount to hold the column, and then I'm going to have to, hopefully it's a 3/4 inch shaft, because then I have bearings. I'm going to lift it up. I'm going to pull that driver's wheel off, and then I can get the plasma there. I think we'll just trim out some of that, or zip cut. We'll trim out some of that inner fender, and then I'm gonna get my steering wheel where I actually like it. I think I gotta bring it down a little bit more. It feels okay, but I think it'd be better if it was up a little bit, and then, well, hopefully one of these bearings fits on that shaft, and then we can figure out how close we're gonna make that, how close we can do with a U-joint to the thing, yeah. Hold on, I'm gonna go grab my U-joints and we're gonna come up with a loose plan here. Got our bin of so we got our bin here. I am just gonna see if I can find a 3/4 inch like steering joint, because I have the lower rag joint to go in the steering box, so that'll be okay. But we need to do something creative with the upper part. I don't know if I have. I mean, I have, but maybe we have to cut that shaft into a D, and I'll do that instead of welding it on. And then here I can drill this and we could weld onto the bottom side. Well, I think this is gonna work overall, because this is my steering shaft and that's my steering box, or my steering column is right here. So technically, I mean, I want to be down more, but I think I'm hitting stuff here. This needs to get shortened up a bit. Man, it's dang close, eh? It is dang close. I think I'm gonna have to shorten up the column a little bit, but I think we're in the zone. I'm gonna lower this down and then we're going to pull the column out, and I guess I'll start figuring out the bottom. I'll just magically pick a number and I'll cut it somewhere, and hopefully that bearing works, and we'll start with that. If I can get this figured out, then we can kind of make the floor brace to hold it, and you know, punch a hole randomly for the steering shaft to go through. But yeah, I'll just rip that column out really quick and okie doke. What do we have? Man, that is like a 13/16. So that's not gonna work. Let's see if, oh, this one's strangely stuck in here too. That's kind of interesting. That doesn't want to pull out. I kind of wanted to see if this bearing fit in here, because if it did, I have some 3/4 inch shaft that I could machine down and we could stick it into here, and then we would have the right size that would slip onto here that we could weld. So I guess I'm going to start by taking this off and see what's, maybe this, I don't know, I'm not sure why the column doesn't want to come out. So I'll pull this off, and well, I'll take this cap off, and I don't know, we'll keep messing around here. Well, I got this off, but I busted the beans out of this trying to get it apart. When I open this up, it looks like it has some safety thing in here, so you can't pull the column out. So I think you have to get the column off, or the steering wheel off, and actually make it go this way. And there's, I don't understand, there's some way all this stuff is holding together. So I'm feeling I'm just gonna try a different wheel. I don't know. I'm just gonna see if I have something good to use and throw in there. It's not too trick. So I'm gonna go do a quick little bit of shopping, because then maybe I can just do this whole bearing all nicely without having to do a whole lot of extra work. So yeah. Well, I got this thing shortened up now. I ended up cleaning it, and I had to do that because this shaft didn't want to slide on, because I kind of hammered in the bearing. Like, we got it on, but I hammered it in. It's got the tension, so it's kind of like in its place, but I realized I shouldn't have banged on it when it was on the floor, because the horn, which was actually a nice shape, I broke. That said, the steering wheel's pretty bent, so I might try to find something cooler to put on it. I know this is all just international, so that part's not a big deal. This is not the end of the world. I could always print something, but I don't think this is that cool of a steering wheel for the car, so I don't need anything like stupid, like fancy, but I just think something a little better than that. The original wheel was just like a side, and I'm not gonna stick anything like modern in it, so I'll dig around and see what I have for wheels yet. I think I have something that's got to be nicer than this. Otherwise, I'll have to try to straighten this and do stuff to it. Anyways, this is done. I'm just going to cut this because I'm going to try to make this with like a lockout. So because the column, because it's 3 on the tree, usually you'd pull back on it. So I'm going to try to orient that with a set of pins for the transmission. So kind of make a plate where you pull back and it'll lock out, and I can go and then lock it in. Some of my stuff doesn't have that, but this one seems to be okay. I just don't know where to do this stuff. I might have to move all this slidey bit inside the cab, and that way I can just have the shaft coming out and working that way. I've done it in the past and made it work, where I kind of pulled out of an indent and it kind of did its thing. So I'll give it a shot, see if I can do it. If I can maybe draw one up, it might be something in the future I can use on all my junk kind of thing. But anyways, this is not too bad. We're going to cut the upper shaft. I'll worry about it after. Actually, I'll probably just take it. No, I'll leave it on. But we got to retest fit. Actually, I got to get this onto here. That's kind of the plan. And I'll probably end up welding it. So we can still get this apart if a guy had to, because you take the steering wheel out and this shaft will come out. So yeah, I'm just going to try to get this into a happy place. I'm gonna have to take that steering wheel off, I guess. I'd like to pull it away. I'd like to weld this. That way this goes up tight against the bearing, and then when you tighten the steering down, it's got some tension on the spring, so the steering column doesn't pull in and out on a filler. Okay, that's pretty much enough chatting. Let's just make this stuff fit. Well, I cut a plate unfortunately, I didn't really, most of these columns, they always go straight up and down, and I didn't actually factor in that this thing had to be like off to an angle. So I'll show what my plate was supposed to do after. But that's okay. Anyways, I gotta see how this feels with the steering wheel, because it looks like to get the steering to work, I have to push this down way more than I wanted. So this isn't the steering wheel I want to use, but at least it's like the right size-ish. Gives me the right feel anyways. It's not super terrible here, but it's not ideal either. I realize I have to make my steering work, it's got to be down and like where I have it right now, if that makes sense. So we're gonna have to get creative with the shifter when that happens here, but for now, that would be there. This is honestly not, I don't even know, not bad. Look how crazy far away that is, but like, it'd be nice if it was a little, I don't even need a lot. Probably that would be good. That feels good, but it's gotta be down, so it's darn near close to my lap. I mean, still, not the end of the world. It's doable. I don't know if I can do it like that. Okay, well, I think everything works. We have it hooked up. It doesn't feel like it binds or hits, but I gotta change some stuff here. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Oh, is this gonna be a pain to get out though? I might have to go a smaller steering wheel. Like, this is where it wants. I really would like it there, but all right. Let's have a look here. You can see my steering is all, it runs through. We got a pretty much straight shot. It would be ideal if I could go down, but it's like up here, it's actually hitting the motor mount already. Like, it needs to go up. I'm wondering if I change this out to a U-joint and then we just stick a shaft through the middle, I can get a little more room, and then get a more comfortable steering wheel. Like, the steering wheel is good, but I feel it needs to come up. Like, I can slip under it. Everything about it feels good. I just feel this thing should come up a little more, and I'd be happy with it. It is good, but maybe it's not bad. I don't know. The other dilemma I had is I cut this, but it doesn't go straight up and down. The shifter, in actuality, goes through the side. I don't know where it is, like on here. It's somewhere in that realm, so it's got to get, oh, I'm doing a lot of things here. It's supposed to sit at like this angle, and the way I cut this was I was gonna angle in a bearing so that I can do my shifter. But I have to angle said bearing to work. I gotta move my brake. My brake pedals wires aren't in a great spot either. I just temporarily threw them through there. All right. So overall, this works. I'm gonna have to revamp some stuff down by the steering box. I'll have to get a good U-joint, or get a U-joint for down there, which I gotta count the spline. It's S10. It's probably the one I drilled out. Yeah, I drilled the other one out so it fit on the shaft so I can do a weld-on bearing. That was the idea with it. Or a weld-on, and then it goes to like a keyway or a D shaft, I think. I don't know, a double D, is that right? I don't know what they call that. But I think if I put a U-joint here, I can run a 3/4 inch shaft up, and that'll just give me a little more room. Because right now everything's sitting here, but I don't know if you can actually see, like, this collar is so big. Maybe I'll actually just look and see if I have another one. I might have a same setup, but some of them were a smaller tube. They didn't step up like that, and that might give me enough room just to tilt my steering column up just a little bit. I need a little bit, and I think it would just be a little more comfortable. Then I can recut that plate, because I'm gonna have to clock it, and then I just want a perfect square. I want to put a bearing in it so that the shifter, I think I can do all the mechanisms inside, and then on the outside I can just have an arm hanging off that'll kind of do the flanky deal with the shifter. So I'll go hit my shed there and see if I got a a different steering shaft that I can throw on the bottom, because that one came off Ryder's truck, so it's kind of a modern thing. I think the older stuff is still much thinner, and we'll see if it's still, yep, still raining. All right, found this one. I'm gonna try it. It doesn't have that huge step up in this area, so I'm thinking it'll give me a little more flexibility to dip everything down. If that doesn't work, then I guess I'll have to find something with this shaft, unless one of those have it. I have a whole pile of them over there, now that I think about it. I don't know if this end is the same. So we have, if light will help you guys, there we go. We got some that's from like a Jeep or whatever. See, that's not right. And that end's not right. This one's too fat and it's not right. That one's not right. That one looks right, but it's not. It needs that flat spots. This is all newer stuff. Newer. Nope. And nope. Basically, this thing has a little flat spot in there, and then the spline. So, we'll try this, see what happens. Yeah, I think that's gonna be it. That will have to do. I'll have to figure out the whole shifter thing yet, but unfortunately I did that and I still had to clock it crooked, but you know what? It's not the end of the world. I'm gonna mark this out and then I'll know what I have to actually plasma yet out to make room for this shifter to go through. But almost there. Cut a little bit here. Make room for I made a provision for my cable for my brake pedal, and then I made this smaller. That's why I cut a second one. But I realized I don't really want to run the bearing, because in case that shaft gets tight into the bearing and I can't pull it out and get it out of gear, that'll be a problem. So we'll just try to make a sleeve for it, or a support rod somewhere. But anyways, yeah. I'll cut these two little notches out and then we can weld that other plate on. got this sorted out. So we have our, I was gonna do the bearing, but I decided to do this whole bushing thing, like stock. So that sits in here. I flipped this around, and I'm gonna figure a way to mount my shifter on here once I have stuff sorted up down there to figure out how far I gotta throw and do things. But for now, we have this, and then what's gonna happen is I'm gonna eventually make a plate that goes on here with indents in it that I can pull in and out of. So technically I have a lockout. Like I'll pull out, I'll get the lockout, this thing will drop back. It's spring loaded, but maybe once I lube it, it'll just kind of do it on its own. It sort of wants to. So anyways, there'll be some indents for my gear changes, so we can kind of go neutral to drive, but so it doesn't dump down by itself accidentally. So a fella can drive with his wrist on it. That's kind of the plan. I'm still going to pull this steering column out. My plan is you have to pull this out. I have drilled this and we put a plug in here. I want to just TIG weld the beans out of the end. And I've added a bunch of weld inside. Can't see that. This thing is not going to come off. It's like a weld on. That's what the deal is. But we're going to have our double D shaft that goes into here, which will go into a slip column to a steering box. So this may come out one more time yet. I'm not sure. But we'll be able to put our shifter, blinker, all that jazz on it. Yeah, I did just kind of welded, like we just tacked that little bearing onto the bottom, so it shouldn't go anywhere. Anyways, right now I'm just going to pull the steering column and we're going to pop this shaft out. I want to spark up the TIG welder and basically just cook this shaft on. I don't want it to ever come off or have a problem with it ever coming loose, so it'll get welded really well, but we do have a set screw in there to hold the works as well. So anywho, this thing's a little on the tight side, but I should be able to give it some loving and pull it out. So now we can probably TIG weld it right there actually. All right, let's do that quick and then we'll be able to pop it into the car. Well, we got this all TIG welded. I like TIG welding stuff like that because I just know I have more control. I know I'm melting. I know things are melting and going into each other. So for structural things like that, and I don't want a lot of buildup because once this thing goes back in, I just want this up against here. I might touch this up a little bit, but this is going to press up against the bearing. So this is tacked in lightly, but it basically holds the works together. That's kind of the plan when it's all said and done. So I'm gonna put this together, we're gonna smash it in the car, and technically I'll have some steering. So I didn't get to the shifter or the gas pedal, but I guess I'll have to do that next round really. So yeah, let's quickly pop this in, get a couple screws on here because this technically should be about where it is. I feel I might still be taking it out, but we can kind of do some of the stuff in the car, I think. So let's get that thing together. Alrighty, I think that is as far as I am getting today. I ended up getting the gas pedal in, but I kind of screwed up the hole. And I need to get, so steering column, it's in. It looks a little bindy here, gotta figure that out. I don't think it's hitting anywhere. Maybe it is. Might have to do a little bit of finesse in here. It doesn't sound like it's rubbing anything. I gotta get my dash actually bolted in. Anyways, with the throttle, I went here, but I made my hole a wee bit too big. I always thought it was like the largest size of these step bits, and I'm off, and I made it too tall. So that's okay. The cable's a little too long. Normally I kind of just recrimp it. I think my fix is gonna be, I'll just build a little pad here that holds the cable like away, and then I can tilt it down and it'll angle at the pedal properly. So anyhow, that one's on. I gotta find one of these little clips, and like I say, I feel, man, that thing is so close. It might be okay though. We might be okay. I wanted that down as much as I can. Then over on this front you can see like we're gonna somehow Like, I got to bolt stuff. We just have tech screws holding everything in right now, but we're gonna make a little dangler that comes off of here, and that'll do our shifter way down there. Hopefully it works. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to come up with a creative idea with a cable. So, but we got to do that, and on the inside, we got to make that plate that has our safeties. That's the plan. But as it sits, I'm pretty happy. We have steering. I have to get, I have to order one of those double D shafts. I think that's what they're called. I don't know, the one with the 2 flat faces. I don't feel like milling one, so I want it to be able to slip into that other shaft. So I got to order some of that because I don't really have anything. And I guess next round we do the shifter. We got a little bit of electrical to do, bolt our seats in. And we're getting pretty close. I like to get the heater in so I can try to plumb everything and see that we don't have no leaks. Figure that transmission line. Yeah, doing pretty good. I think if we go to our list, we're kind of getting some stuff. Technically, the steering column is done, so we can kind of wipe that out. We got our headlights. We have our tail lights. I think everything's good there. I don't know what the support wire is. I forgot what that is. Got some of our e-brakes, but they're not on. Oh yeah, we got to work on that. Upper rad hose, we got that done. Yeah, we're slowly picking away at it. So yeah. On that note, I want to thank you all for watching, and we will catch you on the next one. Later.